What if everything you've been told about growing old, about the end of the journey, was but a whisper from a forgotten age? For over a century, shadows have clung to certain whispers, whispers from minds like Tesla, hinting not at the cessation of life, but at its transformation, its profound, energetic dance. Are we truly destined to merely fade, or is there a code dormant within us, a key to unlock realms of vitality and consciousness far beyond the veil? Prepare yourself. We are about to lift the corner of a very old, very powerful secret, rooted in Sabiduria ancestral and illuminated by flashes of what modern science only now begins to glimpse. This is not about defying nature, but about understanding her deepest rhythms, her alchemia interior. If the pulse of mystery quickens in your veins, if the scent of forbidden truth calls to you, press that like button. Share your initial stirrings in the comments and subscribe. Subscribe to step through this portal with us into the hidden currents of life itself. This forgotten code, this inner blueprint, what language does it understand? Sabiduria ancestral, woven through the fabric of existence, whispers not in linear words, but in frequency, in vibration, in pattern. And the most potent instrument for wielding this frequency, for speaking directly to this code, is the one you carry within you, always accessible, your own voice. Think back deep into the mysterious occultos of ancient traditions. Sound was never just noise or communication. It was creation. It was healing. It was a bridge between worlds. The very universe, some tales say, was sung into being. What if your own body, your own being, holds a similar potential? What if the cells, these incredible, intricate structures holding the forgotten code, respond not just to chemical signals, but to resonant frequencies? What if specific tones, specific vibrations, generated with focused intent through your voice, could bypass the surface noise and speak directly to that core blueprint, reminding the body not of its programmed decay, but of its inherent, boundless capacity for renewal? This isn't mere fantasy. This is the alchemia interior in action, using the most fundamental tool you possess to transmute the perceived limitations of form. Ancient textos prohibidos, often hidden away or dismissed as myth, contain cryptic allusions to sonic keys, too. Vocal practices that were said to restore vitality, to harmonize the inner being with the rhythm of the Energia Cosmica. These weren't just rituals. They were applied physics of consciousness and vibration, understood at a level we are only now beginning to rediscover. And knowledge was guarded, considered too powerful for the uninitiated, too disruptive to established paradigms. The voice, your voice, could be more than a means of expression. It could be the tuning fork for your very existence, resonating with the frequency of health, of rejuvenation, of Illumina Ka spiritual. Are you ready to consider that the limitations you accept are not inherent truths, but echoes of a frequency you have unknowingly been broadcasting? What happens when you change the song? What happens when you sing directly to the code within? The path ahead explores not just the techniques, but the consciousness required to wield this incredible power, a power that lies dormant within you, waiting to be awakened. But what does it truly mean for the body to be an electric temple, a conscious light network? It means that the limitations we perceive, the decay, the vulnerability to external forces, may be less about inherent biological destiny and more about the frequency we are holding, the commands we are broadcasting into the field. Imagine your body not as solid matter, but as a complex wave pattern, shimmering, vibrating at a unique frequency. Every cell, every organ, a node in this intricate network, communicating not just chemically, but electromagnetically, responsively. Sabiduria ancestral whispers of this, not in scientific terms we recognize, but through metaphors of light, of rivers of energy, of sacred geometry underlying form. The ancient healers, the true masters of well-being, weren't just dispensing herbs. or remedies. They were often working directly with this energetic blueprint, attempting to restore the harmonious vibration. They understood that illness was a form of dissonance, a break in the sacred song of the body's own making. The possibility of self-regeneration then shifts from miraculous anomaly to inherent function. If the body is a conscious light network, capable of responding to internal commands, what are the commands you are giving it? Are they commands of fear, of limitation, of accepting predetermined decline? Or are they commands of boundless vitality, of constant renewal, echoing the endless? Creativity of the energia cosmica that sustains all things? This is the heart of alchemia interior as it applies to the physical form, transmuting the heavy, discordant frequencies of disease and decay into the light, harmonious vibrations of health and regeneration. The textos prohibidos, those often maligned, scrolls hidden from plain sight, sometimes describe esoteric anatomical systems, networks of subtle energy, chakras, meridians, nadis, all points on this electric map. They weren't inventing fantasy. They were mapping a reality of the body that exists beyond the reach of the dissecting knife. These are the mysterios occultos woven into the very fabric of your being. Illumina Kao. A spiritual isn't just about altered states of consciousness. It's about bringing that heightened awareness, that understanding of cosmic truth, into the physical. Form itself, allowing the light to inform the cell, to resonate within the bone, to flow through the blood. It is allowing the divine blueprint to override the conditioned programming. The body becomes not a cage for the soul, but a vessel capable of holding ever-increasing amounts of light, of energy, of consciousness. It becomes a finely tuned instrument capable of playing the music of the spheres. But how do we consciously interact with this vibrational field? How do we give these internal commands with power and clarity? What is the language this electric temple understands? The answers lie not in external prescriptions, but in the deep inner listening, in reclaiming the lost sabiduria ancestral regarding the body's divine architecture. It requires turning your investigative gaze inward, asking, what is the true nature of this form I inhabit? To ask that question, truly ask it, is the first step towards reclaiming a forgotten inheritance. For the ancients, from the Nile to the Indus, from the peaks of Tibet to the heart of Mesoamerica, the body was never merely flesh and bone. It was a sophisticated energy system, a resonant chamber, a microcosm mirroring the macrocosm. The Sabiduria ancestral whispers that this physical form is not a static machine, but a dynamic field of energy and information, constantly interacting with the greater energia cosmica. Consider the subtle body maps found in various traditions, often dismissed as myth or mere symbolism. Yet modern quantum physics reveals that at the most fundamental level, reality is not solid particles, but vibrating fields of potential. Could these ancient maps of chakras, meridians, and energetic pathways be descriptions, albeit in a different language, of how this universal energy manifests and flows within the human system? Could they be blueprints for navigating the energetic terrain of being? This is where the ancient practice of alchemia interior comes into sharp focus. It's not about turning lead into gold externally, but transforming the lead of physical limitations and energetic blockages into the gold of vibrant health and expanded consciousness within. It's the conscious manipulation of your own internal energy field, guided by the understanding gleaned from these mysterios occultos. The textos prohibidos, often detailing specific breathwork, visualizations, and postures, weren't just spiritual exercises. They were protocols for influencing this internal quantum field. They were practical guides for alchemia interior, methods to refine and elevate the body's frequency, bringing it into harmony with the source energia cosmica, thus facilitating profound inner healing. Neuroscience today speaks of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself through intention and experience. Quantum physics hints at the observer's effect on reality, suggesting that consciousness plays a role in shaping the physical world. What if the sustained focus, the unwavering intention cultivated in practices aiming for Illumina Koa spiritual, acts as the observer at the deepest level of our being, influencing the quantum processes that underpin our biology? What if healing, true healing from within, is a matter of aligning our conscious intention and energetic state with the inherent blueprint of health encoded within our very cells? A blueprint accessible through that deeper Sabiduria ancestral? Is illness merely a deviation from this optimal frequency, a disharmony in the body's energetic symphony? And if so, how do we learn to conduct that symphony back into perfect resonance? This requires a different kind of investigation, an inquiry not just into the external world, but into the quantum landscape within ourselves. It requires rediscovering the lost keys to our own internal operating system, keys hidden in plain sight within the very traditions that modernity has often deemed primitive or irrational. But how does this energetic understanding translate into practical steps for transforming our physical reality, not just in healing illness, but in unlocking dormant potentials? What ancient techniques hold the power to reshape the very substance of our being? But the reshaping begins not with hammer and chisel, but with breath and thought. The alchemia interior, the true transformation, whispers of a forgotten truth, that the subtle currents within us, the whispers of consciousness, are not mere ephemera, but tangible forces. Imagine your body not as a static structure, but as a dynamic energy field, an exquisite symphony of frequencies. Science now speaks of the heart's electromagnetic field, far stronger than the brain's, acting as a powerful broadcast antenna. When our thoughts, our emotions, our very intentions are incoherent, scattered like leaves in a storm, this internal field is chaotic, a discordant noise that instructs the cells in disarray. But when consciousness, the heart's field, and our vibrational intention align, when they sing in unison, a state of profound coherence emerges. This, the Sabiduria ancestral noon, is the key. It's not just thinking positively. It's aligning the entire internal system, mind, heart, gut, energy centers, into a state of harmonic resonance. Thoughts become not just wishes, but precise energetic commands carried on the waves of this coherent field, directing cellular function, genetic expression, even the very structure of tissues. This is where the boundary between mind and matter dissolves, where the power to regenerate, to heal, to evolve, is unlocked. The Mysterios Occultos, the practices veiled in symbolism and ritual across ages, were often designed precisely for this, to cultivate internal coherence, to connect the personal energy field with the vast, resonant field of Energia Cosmica. Some textos prohibidos hinted at the absolute literalness of this connection, describing internal states as direct mirrors of cosmic forces, and vice versa. Illumina Koa spiritual is not just a mental state, but a profound shift in this internal frequency, a harmonic convergence that allows access to deeper levels of being, greater vitality, and expanded perception. But achieving this sustained coherence, this unwavering alignment, requires a discipline, a knowing that has been largely lost. It asks us to look inward, not just psychologically, but energetically. It asks us to become masters of our own internal frequency, orchestrating the symphony of our being. How then do we move from understanding this principle to embodying it? What are the practices that forge this internal coherence, that refine thought into directive energy, emotion into magnetic force, and intention into reality-shaping power? The path inward, though seemingly abstract, is not amorphous. The Sabiduria ancestral points us toward specific loci within the physical form, structures that are far more than their material composition suggests. They are, in essence, junctions, translators, perhaps even anchors for consciousness within the biological matrix. These are the points referred to in various traditions as quantum antennas or bioenergetic portals. Think of the pineal gland, long associated with vision beyond sight, the third eye of ancient lore. Its intricate relationship with light and internal rhythms is but a surface understanding of its deeper function. Consider the thymus, central to immunity, yet placed so strategically near the heart center. The solar plexus, that vibrant knot of nerves, often called the seat of the soul in certain textos prohibidos, a place where primal energy gathers and transforms. The base of the spine, the root, the foundation, holding potential energy that, when awakened, can ascend and illuminate. Even the often overlooked psoas muscle, connecting spine to legs, holding deep somatic memory and tension, is now seen through a different lens, perhaps an energetic conductor, a key to releasing stagnant patterns. And at the most fundamental level, the mitochondria within every cell, the powerhouses, are they merely generating ATP, or are they miniature resonators, linking cellular life to a larger field of energia cosmica? These are not just points on a map. They are dynamic zones capable of conscious activation. The mysterios occultos and the practices of alchemia interior were often intricately focused on these very areas, using breath, sound, posture, visualization, and focused intention to awaken these internal locks and turn the keys. They understood that stimulating these points was not just about physical health, but about opening channels to subtler energies, accessing hidden faculties, and initiating processes of profound personal transformation. True Illuminacore is spiritual, not as an abstract concept, but as a biological and energetic reality. But how does one consciously activate these zones? What forgotten frequencies are required to unlock their latent potential? To turn these biological structures into fully operational quantum antennas capable of receiving and transmitting information and energy from the cosmic field. What secrets do the textos prohibidos hold about the specific vibrational keys needed for each portal? The question of specific frequencies and vibrational keys. Perhaps it begins not with an external pulse, but an internal focus, an act of witnessing. The modern world speaks of the observer effect in quantum physics, the perplexing notion that the very act of looking changes what is seen. But apply this not to distant particles, but to the intricate, living landscape within your own form. What happens when intentional, directed awareness settles upon a specific cell, a tissue, an organ? The Sabiduria Ancestral understood this principle intimately, though they spoke of it through the lens of consciousness, spirit, and subtle energies. They didn't call it the observer effect, but they practiced it in their deep meditations, their focused visualizations aimed at healing and awakening. They knew that where awareness flows, energy follows, but more profoundly, where conscious attention rests with a specific quality, it begins to shape potentiality. It's a form of internal alchemia interior, using the crucible of consciousness itself. Within the mysterios occultos, this was a fundamental teaching, that the internal landscape is not fixed, but fluid, responsive to the sculptor's gaze of the indwelling spirit. Consider the ancient healing practices, often dismissed as purely symbolic or ritualistic. Many involved sustained focus on the afflicted area, accompanied by specific chants, gestures, or visualizations. Were these merely superstitions, or were they technologies of consciousness designed to amplify and direct this potent observer? Effect? By focusing awareness, not with fear or judgment, but with a clear, knowing intention towards wholeness and the inherent perfect blueprint of that part, they believed they could influence the very energetic structure, stimulating the cellular intelligence to revert to its optimal state. This is the essence of generating cellular repair and tissue renewal through internal means. You are, in essence, collapsing the wave function of illness or decay and reinforcing the probability field of health and vitality, drawing upon the energia cosmica that sustains all life. Some of the textos prohibidos, scattered and fragmented, hint at specific practices of seeing with the inner eye, detailing methods for directing this internal gaze with intensity and precision. They speak of different qualities of awareness, not just analytical observation, but a form of intuitive, felt perception that merges the observer with the observed. This state, they claimed, is necessary to truly influence the energetic structure, to move beyond mere mental focus into a realm of tangible energetic interaction. It is this quality of awareness, this deep, penetrating gaze of the soul, that begins the subtle alteration. It requires more than just intellectual understanding. It demands a cultivation of presence, a state of being that resonates with the vital force of life itself. This internal witnessing is not passive. It is an active co-creation. It's the spirit whispering instructions to the cells, guided by conscious will. It's using awareness as a form of subtle current, a gentle force that nudges the physical form towards its highest potential. This process, when mastered, becomes a powerful tool for personal transformation, a pathway towards illuminica as spiritual, not just through abstract contemplation, but through the direct, conscious reshaping of one's own energetic and physical reality. But if the act of observation is so potent, what exactly are we observing with? Is it the mind? Is it something deeper? And what are the lost techniques that amplify this inner sight, turning a simple glance into a powerful act of energetic direction? What happens when this focused internal gaze is applied not just to a single cell, but to the energetic portals within the body we discussed earlier? Does the observer effect hold the key to unlocking these dormant centers? The eye sees, yes, but true sight, the sight that influences reality, comes from within. The gaze is not merely optical. It is an emanation of your core being, a luminous field extending from your consciousness. Think of the ancient mystics, how they spoke of a third eye, not a physical organ, but a center of perception tuned to frequencies far beyond the ordinary. This is where the how begins. It's observing with the entire resonant field of your existence, a skill honed through disciplines passed down as sabiduria ancestral, often hidden in plain sight or guarded within sealed traditions and secret lineages. What are we observing with? We observe with consciousness itself, that indwelling spark of the divine that resides within each atom of your being, the very essence that connects you to the universal field of energia cosmica. How then does one cultivate this pervasive, energetic observation in the mundane rhythm of daily life? It starts small, with deliberate presence infused with intent. Before you take a sip of water, truly feel the weight of the cup, the temperature against your skin, the subtle current of energy flowing from it into your hand. When you walk, feel the earth beneath your feet, not just the impact, but the palpable exchange of energy, the magnetic pull. These are not just surface mindfulness exercises. They are foundational steps in retraining your deep perception, moving from a fragmented, external view to a unified, internal quantum awareness that acknowledges the interconnectedness of all things. Daily practice must involve more than just external actions. It must delve into the internal landscape with focused intent. Simple breath work, done with conscious direction, can become a powerful tool. Not just breathing air, but deliberately drawing in and circulating energia cosmica, feeling it illuminate your internal pathways, observing its subtle dance within your meridians, within the very nucleus of your cells. Visualize this conscious breath activating those dormant energetic centers we touched upon earlier, the chakras, the nadis, the subtle nodes mentioned in textos prohibidos that hint at the body's true, untapped potential. This focused internal gaze, combined with directed breath and subtle, conscious movement, Even just the gentle unfolding of fingers, the lengthening of the spine, or the mindful settling of the shoulders with awareness begins the profound process of alquimia. Interior. You are not just moving or breathing. You are directing energy, influencing the quantum field of your own biological form. You are employing your internal observer effect not just to witness, but to actively reshape your physical and energetic reality, cell by cell, molecule by molecule, intention by intention. Consider the morning ritual, the simple act of waking. Instead of merely reacting to the demands of the day, pause before you fully rise. Turn the gaze inward. Observe the internal state, the subtle hum of energy, the vast field of potentiality held within the stillness before motion. This conscious, internal observation, this deliberate act of self-awareness, sets the energetic tone for the hours ahead. It is a fundamental daily act of reclaiming sovereignty over your energetic state, a key practice for initiating Illuminaka spiritual, not as some distant abstract goal, but as a palpable, lived reality unfolding within. But what if there were specific tones, specific geometric movements, specific sequences of internal focus, carefully guarded and whispered about in the most ancient mysterios occultos, designed precisely to amplify this effect exponentially, bypassing years of gradual practice? Are these practices merely symbolic remnants of a bygone era? Or do they hold a practical, energetic key to unlocking deeper, more profound layers of quantum biological activation within the human form? What if certain ancient symbols, dismissed by modern minds as mere art or myth, were actually potent, energetic blueprints for this inner work, waiting only for the conscious observer to bring them vibrantly to life within their own energetic and physical form? The daily practice, then, becomes far more than routine. It transforms into a powerful journey of self-discovery and energetic mastery, guided by the faint yet persistent echoes of ancient sabiduria. How deep are you truly willing to look within the fabric of the seemingly mundane? What hidden potentials lie dormant, waiting for your conscious gaze? Merely whispering positive phrases into the void of ingrained doubt is akin to scattering seeds on barren rock. Sincere affirmations, as they are often presented, can become just another layer of performance, a surface polish that fails to penetrate the deep substrata of subconscious programming. The real power lies not just in the words themselves, but in the energetic charge they carry, the resonance they evoke within the very fabric of your being. This is where the Sabiduria Ancestral speaks volumes, a knowledge often veiled within the Mysterios Occultos. They understood that changing the inner narrative wasn't merely a psychological trick, but an act of energetic recalibration, a precise tuning of your personal frequency to align with the vast Energia Cosmica. Imagine the human form not just as flesh and bone, but as a complex energetic instrument. Every thought, every belief, every whispered fear or silent hope vibrates at a certain frequency. Standard affirmations often try to override a low, discordant frequency with a higher one using sheer force of will, a battle rarely won decisively. But what if there were specific internal postures, specific focal points of awareness, specific intonations or visualizations, passed down through hidden lineages, designed to prepare the inner instrument to raise its baseline vibration before the affirmation is even uttered? What if the power lay in activating a dormant energetic circuit, allowing the sincere declaration to land not on barren rock, but on fertile, receptive ground? This is the essence of Alquimia Interior, not just changing the thoughts, but fundamentally changing the energetic state from which the thoughts arise. Are the textos prohibidos simply collections of dangerous ideas, or do some contain precise instructions, energetic formulae for achieving this internal alchemical shift rapidly? Were certain affirmations, found only in guarded traditions, accompanied by specific breathing patterns, specific hand gestures, specific timings tied to celestial cycles, all designed to amplify their energetic impact exponentially, pushing towards Illumina call a spiritual with a force unknown in conventional practice. The simple act of repeating, "I am worthy," becomes something else entirely when infused with this deeper understanding, this connection to the ancient energetic blueprint. It ceases to be a plea and becomes a declaration of inherent truth, a frequency, matched with the boundless potential the Energia Cosmica holds for you. But how does one bridge that gap between the simple phrase and the profound energetic activation? What is the missing key? Perhaps the key isn't external at all, nor solely. Lodged within the mind's eye, consider the vessel itself. This form you inhabit, is it merely a container, or is it an active participant, a finely tuned instrument capable of modulating its own energetic state? Sabadoria Ancestral whispers that the path to Alchemia Interior begins with the earth upon which you walk, the air that fills your lungs, and the very substance that nourishes your being. Conscious movement is not merely exercise. It is a dialogue with gravity, a dance with the unseen currents that flow around and through you. How does the way you stand, the way you walk, the tension you hold in your shoulders or your hips, affect the free flow of Energia Cosmica within? Imagine rivers of energy. Stagnation in the physical form directly impedes the natural current, creating eddies of discord. And breath, the most immediate, involuntary, yet controllable act. It is the tether to the present moment, the subtle bridge between the outer world and the inner landscape. Is it just the exchange of gases, or is it the constant drawing in and circulating of vital force? Different patterns of breath yield different states of consciousness, different energetic frequencies. Are there specific breathing techniques, perhaps hinted at in fragmented textos prohibidos or preserved in guarded lineages, designed not just to calm the nerves, but to actively cleanse and activate the subtle energetic channels, preparing the field for a deeper reception of light, of Illumina Ka spiritual? This is not just breathing. It is pranic architecture, a deliberate sculpting of your internal atmosphere. Then there is nourishment. What you consume becomes part of you, not just physically, but energetically. Are you simply fueling a machine, or are you incorporating vibrations, essences, patterns of light? Certain ancient traditions speak of living foods, not just in terms of freshness, but in terms of their inherent energetic charge, their ability to harmonize or disrupt the internal field. Is the act of conscious eating, of truly being present, with the energy you absorb, another facet of Alchemia Interior, a way to refine the vessel from the inside out? These seemingly simple, mundane actions, how you move, how you breathe, what you eat, are often overlooked as foundational elements of spiritual practice. Yet, what if they are the fundamental grammar of the body's energetic language? What if they are the very preparation the ancient teachings speak of, the prerequisite for aligning with the subtle frequencies required for profound transformation? Could the mysterios occultos surrounding higher states of being be intertwined with the most basic instructions on how to simply inhabit your physical form with awareness and intention? What forgotten science lies coded within the way certain cultures perform daily tasks, or the rituals surrounding food and movement? The answers may lie not in abstract philosophies, but in the tangible wisdom of the body itself. But how deeply can one refine this vessel, and what new sensitivities, what new connections to the Energia Cosmica might such attention unlock? And if the vessel is indeed refined, what is the primary fuel it consciously interacts with, second only perhaps to the ground beneath its feet? The breath, not merely the automatic exchange of gas that sustains biological function, but the conscious channeling of prana, of chi, of the subtle life force itself. Sabadoria Ancestral across continents whispers of breathing techniques not just for calm, but for awakening dormant centers, for directing internal currents. This brings us to a practice known in certain guarded lineages as spiral breathing. It is not simply inhaling and exhaling. It is an intentional engagement with the very flow of Energia Cosmica as it moves through the physical and subtle bodies. Imagine energy not just flowing linearly, but spiraling, much like the double helix of our DNA, the structure of galaxies, or the path water takes down a drain. Ancient symbols, like the caduceus, hint at these spiraling energy channels within us. Spiral breathing seeks to consciously mimic and amplify this natural, often unconscious, energetic pattern. It is a method to harmonize the body-soul axis by smoothing out blockages, resolving energetic knots, and ensuring a balanced, dynamic flow. Think of it as an alchemy interior, applied to the respiratory and energetic systems simultaneously, transforming erratic or sluggish energy into a coherent, vital current. This practice isn't about hyperventilation or complex retention exercises. Although variations exist, at its core, it's about cultivating a profound awareness of the breath's potential to move energy in specific, non-linear pathways within the body. It's about guiding the vital force along these spiral trajectories, feeling it gather, ascend, descend, and intertwine. Why a spiral? What inherent power is contained within this form? Perhaps it is the signature of creation itself, the most efficient path for energy transfer between dimensions, the mysterios occultos surrounding. Deeper states of consciousness often begin with mastery over the breath and the internal energy. Flow it facilitates. Textos prohibidos, or texts accessible only to initiates, describe this kind of conscious energetic direction as a key prerequisite for Illuminaca spiritual, for unlocking the subtle senses and perceiving realities beyond the ordinary. Spiral breathing is one of the keys offered in these hidden teachings, a tangible method to influence the subtle architecture of your being. But how does such a specific way of breathing alter the very fabric of your consciousness? What doors might it unlock within the internal landscape, and how might it change your interaction with the Energia Cosmica that permeates everything? The breath, seemingly simple, holds secrets far more profound than its life-sustaining function suggests. It is a direct line to the energetic heart of existence. If only we learn to breathe with intention, with awareness of its spiraling power. Yet, merely understanding the technique is one thing. Integrating it, allowing it to reshape your inner world, is another entirely. And what happens when the inner spiral aligns with the outer cosmic flow? What new forms of perception emerge when the body-soul axis spins in harmony with the universal dance? The alchumia interior begins with the breath. This sabiduria ancestral, passed through mysterios occultos, is a direct path to aligning your inner spin with the universal flow. As you practice, notice the subtle shifts, the whispers of Illuminaca spiritual. What changes do you feel when you connect with this spiraling Energia Cosmica? Share your insights below. If this journey resonates, share this knowledge and subscribe for more keys to unlock your potential. Next, deepen your practice with our guided meditation on grounding the spiral energy.